Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. This is episode 237. Today, we're talking about why do people doubt manifestation? I'm hypnotist Jim Kellner, and I'm joining Victoria Gallagher, the law of attraction hypnotist and #1 best-selling author of The Practical Law of Attraction. Align yourself with the manifesting conditions and successfully attract your desires. She's also the founder of HipTalk.com and the HypnoCloud apps, which gives you access to over 500 hypnosis recordings right in the palm of your hand. So be sure to download that app from either of the app stores. Everyone, please give it up for Miss Victoria Gallagher.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I am good.
Good. Excellent. When is do you know when this episode's airing? About is this January or
Yeah, I think we're right about this late December right now.
awesome? Okay, so if you're in the Tucson area, you got to come down and see me, folks, down at Vale Laughs or Marana Comedy Club. Go check my website. I'll let you know what that where you can find me or message me or something. Come see the comedy hypnosis show.
Awesome. Awesome. And that's going to be sometime in when January or so.
Oh yeah, sorry, January 7th and January 13th.
Cool. Awesome. Well, maybe I will figure out a way to get down to Tucson one of these
Quite a
days.
drive for you, definitely.
Yeah, it is quite a drive from here. And
Yeah,
yeah. Gotta have you come to Scottsdale.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. So today we're talking about, the subject, why people doubt manifestation. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh my God. This is probably like one of the reasons why, any of us authors or movie producers or, any of us actually even have a platform or stay in business because, there's we have to get the message out there to people who are doubting this and help them, to overcome those doubts. So it's if you're one of those people who just doubts this, you are definitely not alone. Most people, the reason why most people doubt manifestation is truly due to a lack of understanding of how it actually works.
Mhm.
For most people, when they first start to learn about this whole thing, manifestation, law of attraction, all the woo-woo stuff, they doubt it because it just seems like, oh, that's too easy. And
Mhm.
we're ultimately hardwired to think that life should be hard and should be
Mhm.
difficult and everything else in our life, everything's difficult. And other times is because, people well, they try to manifest things, but they're using too much of one part of their mind or another, either too much of their logical mind, and they're not allowing any of the actual, spiritual, energetic vibration stuff, the feeling, the creative mind, subconscious to do the work. Or on the opposite end of the spectrum, they're using too much of just their creative mind, their feeling mind, and just sitting and meditating all day and not actually getting up and doing the things that you would need to do with your logical mind. So it's really a mixture of both. And so the other reason why people doubt the law of attraction and manifestation is because they just give up too soon. So, maybe they, aren't seeing any signs of progress happening and they get discouraged, they get frustrated. And so they give up and throw in the towel before they've even had a chance to see the power in action,
Mhm.
because manifestation takes time, takes persistence, and it's really important to be patient.
And I see this, within myself and clients and friends and everybody. It's like when you first get an idea, and you first start working on something, it's exciting and it's fun. And for the first few months, it's all you can think about. You wake up in the middle of the night, you write down some notes, and you're telling everybody about it, and then it starts to become more like a chore, like a job. And so it becomes pretty easy to go, I don't, and I know, what, like my partner was telling me that he's going through that right now with our app. Like he's just
Mm.
like, I have no motivation. It's been a year and a half and it's still not done. And I'm feeling the same way. I'm kind of pushing through it, but it's tough to maintain that sometimes.
Yeah, no, it really is. It really is. And, sometimes people, they believe a little bit in their manifestation, but they're not fully committed to it. And I think so much of manifestation, is really being fully committed to having it happen. And, just like, you start to waver, like you're like starting to waver in, maybe, maybe we're not cut out for or whatever,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
and it's totally normal. It's totally normal to have doubts when you're manifesting. It's totally normal to not believe 100% fully that, something is going to happen. And, especially if it's something that you've never done before, you've never had before, it's hard to be totally 100% certain about something that you've never experienced before. And, and I think through like doing some of these techniques, the visualization, the mantras, the affirmations, doing hypnosis, all of these things, can really help normalize because that's the thing is like it doesn't feel normal to you that this is possible, whatever it is that you're
True.
wanting to manifest doesn't seem like a normal thing, and so you get almost like spooked by it in a way, like, oh, this is too good to be true, but when you start to work with some of the tools, some of the techniques, then you can start to shift some of that, like, well, this is totally normal because I've seen it 1,000 times in my brain. But
Hmm.
this work is not easy. It's not easy to like, I make a commitment every morning to get up at 5 o'clock and go into my meditation room and and meditate silently for over 30 minutes, read books, visualize, say my affirmations, write down my gratitudes, all of that. And, and I'm not necessarily saying you all have to have a 4 hour routine in the morning like I do, but you've got to have some consistency. And it's the consistency and it's the constant immersing yourself in believing that these things are normal, these things happen to me, these are the kinds of this is like, if hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in the world have this thing, why can't I, have it? I mean, like, look at all the best-selling books there are on the market. Like, why can't you have, a best-selling book? I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of them there. That have throughout the ages, and all of the inventions, all the things, it's normal. It's like perfectly normal. But if you have some sort of an old pattern of failure, some sort of an old pattern that like nothing ever goes right for you, some old pattern that, you no one in your family ever had money, or the everybody in your family gets divorced 3 or 4 times, or no one's ever been at their ideal body weight, or any of those things. It's something you got to work through, and it's hard to get this switched around in your brain. And that is really the key. The key is that we're going to have doubts, but just don't stay there and dwell on, this is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Right. Because the more you say that, put that out there, the more you're going to feed those doubts. You got to feed the belief. You got to feed the commitment. You got to feed the determination, and that is going to happen.
I was just thinking when when you said something about, you've made the commitment to yourself to get up every day at 5 a.m., go meditate, and do this 4-hour routine of things. Um, it occurs to me that just by doing that, you're building that discipline and that belief in yourself through something that's not related to, building an app or writing a book, but it's still giving you belief in yourself. So even if somebody's struggling with their career or relationship or something, if they just did something for themselves like that, like meditation, exercise, whatever it is they want to do, they could start to build that belief in themselves.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the other reasons why people doubt themselves is because they set themselves up for failure. Like they'll say basically, I'm going to get up at, I'm going to get up and work out in the morning. Then they push, first thing they do is they push the snooze button, then they push it again. And then by that time, it's like it's too late. Time has already passed. They don't get up and go and do their workout routine, which automatically just sets them up at the beginning of the day with a fail. And when I say that, I'm not saying that you're a bad person by doing that. So many people do that. I'm saying you're breaking a little micro commitment with yourself that you made, which chips away at your belief that you're going to do the thing that you say that you're going to do. And so when you chip away at the belief, the confidence, the discipline to do what you say you're going to do, then how are you going to believe that you're going to be able to do the things that are like not even logically uh possible? You got to be able to like get yourself to do the thing that is not even that's like logically anybody can do this. Anybody can tell themselves, I'm going to get up at X time and actually proceed and do that. It's a choice that you're making in that moment. So all of these little choices that we make throughout the day to follow through on what we say we're going to do with ourselves, with other people, all these choices, these are also what create or eliminate the doubts and the belief, that we have.
That's awesome. So you said we can't really get rid of, we probably can't be doubt free completely. I get that. I wish I could be just fully on board. I'm sort of at a place where I feel like as long as I don't die first, I can complete anything I want to. I mean,
Yeah.
death might get in the way or something, but if I just keep at it long enough, it'll happen. Do you think there's any benefit to those doubts? I mean, maybe they're spurring us on to greater things.
Well, doubts are normal. It's normal to have doubts. Our doubts are actually keeping us safe. Our doubts are sometimes providing us some information. Like sometimes I think it's a good thing to just like, why am I having this doubt? Like to actually get to the bottom of it rather than this thing kind of looming in the background. Oh, I wonder if da, 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 da. It's like, well, really just sit down with yourself and explore that doubt. I wouldn't just blindly dismiss why you're having those doubts. It could be an indication that this, instead of it being a doubt, you could almost reframe it to being internally guided towards something different. And so it could be an indication that this particular thing or the way that you're going about it isn't necessarily the right thing. And so doubts can actually, the benefit of them is they can actually be useful. And so I would not suggest, without exploring the doubt first, just suppressing the doubt, because whatever you resist persists. So if you have doubts, you have fears, you're probably going to continue to have those doubts and fears until you actually deal with them and figure out like what's underneath them and learn how to, deal with them in a in a healthy way, because they can be actually a powerful thing. They can actually be used to your advantage. It's a self-reflection tool. And so, like I said, it's not always bad to have the doubts. You may be able to eliminate them by just questioning the doubt. And, it's just about how you process the doubt that determines whether they're beneficial or useful to you or not. If you're afraid of them, you don't want to look at them, then there's a reason for you being afraid of looking at them. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're there's something, that you're not telling yourself. It's almost like you're living
Mm,
in you're living a lie. You're living in like, I know this, maybe, it's just like, I know this isn't really the right thing for me to do, but I'm going to do it anyway.
mhm. Yeah. So that makes sense. Reflecting on those doubts and that sort of thing. But if I'm looking at those, if our listeners are looking at those and they're finding that those doubts, they're not helpful, they're not benefiting in any way, and
Hmm.
they're really just creating a block. What can we do to get rid of the self doubt? Is there a
So
way?
yeah, I would start by like really diving into that doubt. So write down like, I would really like, on a piece of paper, a journal, whatever. I would write down like what it is that I want to manifest. Start with that at the top. Then I would go into like a little meditation, for example, and just close your eyes for a little while and just say, is there is there any part of this process that I'm doubting? Is there any part of this that I don't believe? And just begin to identify like what are the doubts that I have about this. In other words, what are my limiting beliefs? Because most of the time they're just limiting beliefs. And once you know what that limiting belief is, then you can begin to actually work on releasing it. And so that might involve doing more meditation, more coaching, doing self hypnosis, doing some therapeutic modality with with a professional or with yourself. And so like when you stumble upon like a doubt that like um that you can like really get your mind around. It's like, okay, so I'm doubting this because no one in my no one's ever done this before, no one's ever started a business before, no one in my family has ever been an entrepreneur before, or whatever it is. Then you could just and ask yourself, well, what's underneath that? Well, I'm if they have never done this before, maybe I'll fail. Well, is that ultimately true? Is that ultimately true that you're going to fail because no one ever in your family's ever done that before? And and then you just kind of start to build role models around that. Well, like, are there other people who have become entrepreneurs where their families, no one in their families ever become an entrepreneur? Okay, so then that's really not ultimately true. So then you remind yourself, like that this is possible. Remind yourself why you started wanting to manifest this, in the first place. Remind yourself, what is your end goal, and keeping that goal in your mind whenever you start to doubt yourself. And you can use affirmations to, like creating the affirmations around that limiting belief that support your new belief. Like, what would I like to believe about this instead? And I believe I can be successful. I could be the first person in my family to do this. Many people have done this before, and start to create these undeniable truths around that, these undeniable truths, affirmations, visualizing yourself actually succeeding at this. And and don't be afraid also to ask for support, because maybe you don't have all the answers. Maybe there's just still things that you need to learn about this that you don't quite know. And so allow yourself to be guided to either the answers like on a spiritual level, or on a actual logical common level. Like maybe you need to get a coach that's done this before, that can like give you the answers on like, how do I get from here to there? And like you have to like realize there is like a logical way there to a strategy for all any success. It's there,
Yeah.
it's all been done before. Most, unless you're trying to go to Mars, I mean, and even that's, happening right
Right.
pretty soon. But there's a strategy for everything that you want to do. There's a step by step cause and effect. And so you have to just, all you got to do is recreate the steps. And
Right.
and you go to step 1, and you get your mind wrapped around that, like, okay, step 1, what do I need to do? And you do it. And then step
Yeah.
2, what do I need to do to get to step 2? Okay, and then you do it. And every single thing, if you really break it down, it's pretty logical. You might not exactly have all the answers on every single step that you're going to take from the beginning, but like Martin Luther King said, just take the first step and the next one will be presented to you. And we almost always can think of one first step. And sometimes the first step is just writing something down. Sometimes the first step is just doing some research. Sometimes the first step is just going inside and asking ourselves, what do I need to do? And asking ourselves that same question every day. If nothing is quite coming to you that way, maybe you're going to hear another answer that says like, well, Jim's done this before. Maybe I just go to Jim and ask him, how do you become a stage hypnotist?
Right. Yeah.
Whatever you can dream of or dare to dream of, you can do it. You just got to get committed to it. And, just don't be afraid to ask for help in manifesting. And, it's all about ultimately, first manifesting the belief that you can do it because anybody can. And I always say that manifestation is manifestation, whether it's manifestation of a state of confidence, a manifestation of a state of belief, or a manifestation of, just getting this phone or, some kind of object. And you know, it's all doable. It's all doable.
And if you're having those doubts, about whether you can do it or not, one of the things that I kind of just came across this question. I started asking myself, and I built a talk around it. Was why not you? You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
Other people have done great things. Why not you? And I say this to myself, and I'd say that to our listeners. Why not you? Why can't you create a podcast like Victoria has created? Why can't you write a book? Why can't you? Why not you? That's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And just do it. I mean, you're good enough, you're smart enough, doggone it. No,
Right?
you
People
know,
like me.
people like you.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, like I think the first thing is just, it's really, really getting that relationship with your word and know that your words are always sending out energy. They're always creating, whether they're creating something positive or they're creating something negative. Your words, your thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings, your actions, it's all creating. So what are you creating? What do you want to create? What are you going to create? Because it's all here for you. It's all possible. There's nothing that's out of the realm of possibility. You just got to get yourself to take the first step and believe in yourself. Sometimes the dreams just aren't big enough or exciting enough, and maybe you need to change the dream to get yourself more enthusiastic and patient or passionate about wanting to pursue that.
That's a great one. So if you want something, jump up a couple levels, make it big.
Level up.
Yeah. Audacious. Yeah. I remember my minister said that one time, I want you to write down your goals for the year and I want you to have audacious goals. And I said, wow,
Mm.
audacious. That's a great word.
It is
So
a great word. I love that. Audacious goals.
get out there and manifest some audacious goals, people. Victoria, as always, has been a pleasure.
Yes, definitely. It's been a pleasure to have you here. And thank you for the wonderful questions. And thank you, guests, for being here and listening to this podcast. And be sure to leave a comment on the podcast or the video, wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening. And if you found value in today's program, then please do share this with your friends. Also, be sure to leave a review because starting last November, you have a chance to win a custom hypnosis session from me. It's $400 value just by leaving a review and send me a screenshot of your review. And I'll do a drawing of those at the end of the month. And also, I have a free gift for you. All you have to do is go to victoriamgallagher.com/free-gift and download it there. It's the Manifest Wealth meditation. And finally, if you'd like us to talk about other topics, then send me an email, victoria@victoriamgallagher.com. Make a suggestion. I'd love to hear what you'd like to know about. And of course, as always, be sure to download my HypnoCloud app from the App Store. Tune in next week for another amazing episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. And until then, happy manifesting.